Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jill, and if you're new here, I am an artist, author, and creative entrepreneur in the early phases of my business. I'm in my home office today, and I thought it might be fun to take you guys through my college graphic design portfolio. This is literally what I would take around with me when I was interviewing for jobs after college. My portfolio was very large dimensionally, and it was very heavy, but I don't know if I was a sucker for punishment or what, but I wanted to be able to show off my work in full size. So I don't know, I just carried it around anyway. And I lived in New Jersey at the time. So, oh, hello, Cheddar. So when I say I carried it around, I mean, I literally carried it through the streets of New York City, despite how heavy it was. So good thing I played the baritone horn as a kid, because I got used to carrying a heavy instrument when I was only 10. Okay, so I think how I'd like to do this is I'm going to show you a couple of the loose pieces first, because I can just bring them right up close to the camera. And then I think I'm going to switch it up a bit and just hold the camera in my hands as I take you through the pages of the portfolio. Okay, little guy, let's get out of the way of the camera. Yeah, I've got both my cats in my office, so as usual, they're just gonna cut in when they feel like it. I'm not gonna try to stop them. Okay, without further ado, the first piece I'm gonna show you guys is this is actually from when I was in high school, not college, but I designed the entire program for when the Thespian Society put on Peter Pan. So this was a cover-to-cover design. The only thing I was not responsible for was printing, but I had to get a lot of stuff in here, cast bios, the entire synopsis of the play, all the scenes and everything. So it was a pretty cool piece to show that I could do work with text as well as image. I did not design the Peter Pan on the cover, though. He is not my original illustration. I was given him to paste in. All right, so moving on. Next, I have a book that I designed in, I believe, my junior or senior year of college. This is a psychedelic fonts research paper, but I took it to the next level and decided to make an entire book out of my research project. So this came in very handy when I became a senior, and I had kind of like an extra project that nobody else had. So it helped set me apart. And you know, that's kind of a good thing if you're graduating in a class and everybody has like all the same projects to show off. So yeah, this was a cool piece. I remember that I took a lot of pictures of stuff around our house. This was actually like literally the hairdryer I had back then. Also, my parents had a lot of really cool vintage record albums. And we also had an organ at our house. And so there was like music books that featured vintage fonts and things like that. And also just the pattern that's used here. I actually still have this shirt, but this was a shirt that I scanned and turned into the cover design. Okay, I'm not going to show every single page of that. Okay, Cheddar's actually behind the portfolio, and he's pushing out something that I had hidden behind there. I love how they make my videos more interesting for me. Okay. Next, I have a Summer in New England calendar. This was for September 2007 through December 2008. I believe this is something that I added into my portfolio after college completed. I even made my own spiral binding out of wire. It wasn't the greatest. I actually don't remember where I paid to have the perforations done, but I know I didn't do that myself. Anyway, I'll show you the back. There's a whole guide to the pictures that are in here because it was a 16-month calendar. These were all original photographs that I took when I was on vacation with my family over, I think, maybe 2 summers worth of photos made it into here. But I designed the whole calendar part as well. I actually love doing layout design projects like this. Not so much like magazine layout, but just like print layout overall, if that makes sense. I wasn't really into doing like columnized text and stuff like that, though. All right, this is a famous lighthouse in southern Maine. I'm just going to show a couple of the pictures in here, not all of them. This is a good one. Lots of boats. I mean, New England is one of the most photogenic places in the world, if you ask me. So this was kind of one of those projects that just came together on its own. This is a seascape in New Hampshire. Probably, I'm gonna guess this is a sunset. Yeah, this is a sunset, actually. Because if it was a sunrise, it would have been over the ocean itself. All right, one more, and then I'll move on. Oh, here's a cool one. This was a butterfly, obviously, but I snapped this photo when I was taking a walk, and I just remember that on the walk I was on a mission to go get ice cream. By the way, I don't know if you can see very well, but the whole like ghosted version of the pictures in the background of the month. Anyway, I was going to get ice cream, and then on my way back from that trip, the ice cream just like melted down my arm in the sun. And I remember getting back to the hotel and just like jumping in the pool because I was covered in sticky, and so I just jumped into the pool in my clothes. Not the greatest idea, but I was like 22, so I didn't care. Okay, moving on. I'm gonna get these sort of out of the way while we're here. Next, I have a poster that I did. This was at one point in time inside the portfolio, but I had another printout of it that accidentally got ruined because the frame, the original frame I had it in was glass, and it literally fell off my wall and shattered, and the whole print got like really badly scratched up. So I pulled this out of my portfolio and I framed it again, this time in plastic because I didn't want to lose it again. But it's actually the lyrics to John Lennon's Imagine. And as you can see, there's 2 doves and some poppy flowers. I don't think poppy flowers grow on trees, but for the sake of this, we'll pretend that they did. But incidentally, I could never sell copies of this because it literally contains like copyrighted lyrics all in here. I'll like put it up close so hopefully you can see some of it. Okay. This next poster, I actually pulled it out from the pages of the portfolio. This one just has a little message written in the fonts. It says, "Live for love and love life. Follow your dreams so that you may rise to your personal best. Never let the down times keep you from rising back up." So that's all written in the rainbow. I did this, I believe in Adobe Photoshop. I don't think it was Illustrator. I think it was Photoshop, but it was all generated initially by hand, and then I digitized it even back before there were iPads and Procreate and all that good stuff. I have another copy of this hanging on my office wall. It may have appeared in some videos, but if it hasn't yet, it definitely will in the future because, like I said, it's on my wall. Okay, next, I'm gonna slide this one out. This actually was not part of the portfolio. I put it in as filler because I had to take the Doves poster out. Not that I market my design with my portfolio anymore. This really was, I never even showed this portfolio off after I got my job when I was only 22. So it served its purpose really well, and then it's sadly just kind of sat in my closet. But anyway, this just says "Life is Peachy" twice over. This was just a fun little thing that I sketched and printed, I think, in the summer after college. So like I said, this wasn't even part of the original portfolio. I just stuck it in there to fill the page for my own benefit, I guess. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna change it up at this point and take the camera with me and show you directly what's in the portfolio. I don't think you guys need to see me for the entire length of the video, so be right back. Also, there is something to be said for not using my selfie camera the entire time. Anyway, this next project, it's called Illuminations. Basically, this was a group project. We were all given a word by the professor. Our word was Illuminations, and we had to come up with a corporate design system for that word and come up with the concept for the business and everything. So we basically created a furniture store that is oddly similar to IKEA. And we came up with this entire design system, including letterhead, envelope. You can see the front of it here, the back of it here. I loved doing 3D design. I thought it was so cool. This is an actual shopping bag that I made, and I took a photo of it so that I didn't always have to pop it out of the portfolio, but that's what it looks like open. So the sides have all the designs on it. I think this is a shipping label. Yeah, it's a shipping label. So this is a really fun design project. Next, oops. All right, I actually have another print of this to show you guys. So we had to design a cereal box. So I designed Beachy Bites, rainbow marshmallow fish, and crunchy oat inner tubes that will turn your milk ocean blue. So I basically made this out of colored goldfish and some kind of frosted Cheerios, and then I photoshopped the Cheerios so they'd be blue instead of white. And I think I only had to change the color of the green goldfish because back in the day they actually had rainbow goldfish. I don't know if they still make those. But whoops, I'm sorry guys, I'm not so great at the camera work yet. But yeah, so we had to design the entire box, every single side of it. So here you have like basically a knockoff Rice Krispies treats recipe with Barry Barracuda, the mascot. The nutrition panel, the print marks, everything. And yeah, we did get graded on that stuff. And my box was interactive because there's an entire word search. It's under my thumb. There we go. Word search. And it is real. I did put all the words in there. I just didn't circle them because I didn't want to ruin it. We were also graded on if the box closed at the top. Mine did. And I even had the little box tops for education thing. And then the bottom just with more stuff. Anyway, I'm going to set that aside. Next, I apologize that this is kind of falling down. I generally didn't display the portfolio vertical. So this was another 3D design project. So we had to design a CD set. So I did the Summer of Love, all the music from, 50 Greatest Hits of 1967. So I even did the CD sleeves here. The CDs themselves had to have labels printed, and this is what it would look like if it was all opened up. And I even have an extra printout here so you can kind of see it in action. This was printed on a different printer. It was probably my test print because I can tell the quality is not quite as good as the one that's up here hanging by a thread in its plastic case. But anyway, here we go. This was all hand lettered. I absolutely loved doing psychedelic style hand lettering. And then sadly, the CDs themselves do not have music on them. Actually, what is this here? I think it's some kind of, oh yeah, it's got all the song lyrics. Oh my goodness, I forgot that I had to do this part. But yeah, every single CD had its own lyrics booklet with it. And I'm not sure, I guess I used all the discs just in here. I don't think I printed 2 copies of the discs. This looks like it's just the lyrics booklets, but oh wow, I totally forgot that I did this. This is fun. I'm rediscovering stuff as I'm sharing it with you guys. All right, well, I'm going to set this aside. I'm just making a nice pile here for myself to have to clean up later. What can I say? All right, next page, moving on. Oh, haha. So as you can tell, 3D design was like probably my favorite class because I used a lot of projects from that class in my portfolio. Hi, Electra. So this project was to design our own alcoholic beverages. So needless to say, if you get a bunch of college kids doing that, we're going to have fun. My professor was only like 26 years old, so that tracks. Anyway, I had full 3-dimensional boxes for the beverages. I did alcoholic wine cooler smoothies, and I actually made them using yogurt and wine coolers, and everybody agreed it was the most disgusting alcoholic drink they'd ever had. And yes, I brought them to class. We all drank them together and we dumped them out because they were horrible. But hey, the effort was there. I think I also used food dye to get the colors completely correct. Those are my own cosmetics in the ad, by the way. These were the drink labels. So we had to have like all the disclaimers and everything on there. I had a whole bunch of like promotional stickers. That's what these are. And I think this is, yeah, it's just a printout of the front. I used to actually have the 3-dimensional boxes, but at some point I had to throw them out, unfortunately. And also I had like tons of bottles because I had to make them all for the photographs, but that was something that did not get saved with the years. All right, next we have illustrations that I did. These illustrations were updated a little bit, but most of them actually do appear in the book that I published in the summer of 2024. You can see the original cover that I designed for my first book here. The final product looks different. I will show you what my my actual published book looks like after I finish filming the portfolio. But here's just some illustrations that I did, and I printed out some double page spreads. That's why there's a big margin in the center. I think there's more here. Yep. So here we go. So you'll be seeing a lot of my little characters as I move forward in my small business, because I am going to be featuring them not only in more books, but in products. All right. So this was a real life project. This was outside of college. I was working in a hair salon at the time as a receptionist, And my boss's husband needed a product design done for this powdered drink smoothie mix-in called Berrylicious. So he paid me to design this for him. The label was put on by someone other than me, but like basically I designed the graphic, and this is a picture of the actual product in use. I used to actually have the full product. I also designed his company label for him, Elite Nutraceuticals. And this is the full label if it's not wrapped around a bottle. Super fun to actually see something I designed in real life in use like that. I don't think they're still in business though, but I did in fact have a canister of Berrylicious at home. All right, I think the last few pages of the portfolio are photographs of paintings and also some pet photography that I did, but these were all, I basically turned my paintings into posters so that I could showcase my illustration art a little further. I actually don't like that one very much. This one I still display. But yeah, I have all the paintings of those. Oh, more posters. So this was a class project we had to design for the Bauhaus School of Design, and by contrast, the Cranbrook School of Design. So you can tell, even if you're not familiar with these schools of design, how very, very different they are. And the whole purpose was to use the same color scheme and the same dimensions for the posters and just really display the difference between the two schools of thought as far as highly organized and geometric versus anything goes. All right, getting towards the end here. All right, so I was not really marketing myself as a photographer, but I did enjoy photographing animals. So I featured my own pets. At the time I had Dust Bunny and Scooter Pie, my bunnies. This was our family cat, Smudgy. There's Dust Bunny again on my bed at the time. There's Scooter Pie out in my dad's garden. Here's my other two bunnies, Mopsy on the left and Flopsy. Yes, I had a Flopsy and a Mopsy. And here is Smudgy again on my dresser this time. Sorry for my fingerprint in there. Oh, and that's it. Okay, I'm back just very briefly because for my senior thesis project, I actually did a full bound hardcover book using all my illustrations and obviously the story that I wrote. So at the time I was lucky, I actually worked in a place that had a huge printer. So I did the entire book jacket, got it printed professionally through the job that I had at the time. Did I say book sleeve, book jacket, whatever. So it actually did fold all the way into, oh my God, my About the Author page from back then. It actually did fold all the way in without any seams or anything like that. And I actually sewed the book together myself. That took a lot of work. But yeah, I did the whole thing cover to cover with all the illustrations printed and everything. So that was, like I said, that was my senior thesis project. And that was 2006. And then I published The Real Deal in 2024. This is what the actual modern print-on-demand version looks like from Amazon. It's also available on barnesandnoble.com, jelly bracelets and peanut shells. And as always, I'll link my website on the end screen, but there's all the illustrations still in there. I did, of course, modernize them in Procreate and just, you know, fix them up a little bit. This was one of the newer illustrations that I did in a later year. But anyway, it was pretty cool to see how the arc of production came along from when I did it myself to when I did it for real once KDP became a thing. And also, I do have my second book in print. I just figured I would show that off once again, A Tale of Two Kitties and Fluffy. So this series is ongoing. And like I said, I will be sharing all the illustration process with you guys in future videos, as well as all the products that I designed with the characters. So, all right, that pretty much concludes my sharing of my old portfolio with you guys, so you can get a better idea of what kind of artwork I like to do, since my videos thus far have been an arc of getting my creativity back, and those were really more about just me doodling and having fun and, well, like the series title says, getting my creativity back. So now I'm really excited to get more in-depth with my projects, and as you can see, my cats are excited too. They always like to guest star, what can I say? So thanks again for being here. I will be back on Weekly Wins Wednesday, and I also hope to produce a full-length Draw With Me video this week. So wish me luck. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to my new subscribers, and please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and check out my website and my Instagram if you feel so inclined. Have a great rest of your day, guys.